Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a great king. He was simultaneously the most powerful man in the kingdom, as well as the kindest and gentlest man in the entire realm. The kingdom was known for its peace, harmony, and goodwill. Neighbors cherished one another, and years would pass without a single crime being committed. One day, however, the chief servant of the merciful king came into the throne room with ill tidings. "There's a thief in the realm of your kingdom, sire," said the servant. The king was astonished. "Find that thief, and when you do, bring him to me, and he will be punished with 10 lashes." Those in the room were astonished. It had been so long since a crime had been committed that they could hardly imagine who would have done such a thing. A week went by, and the servant again made his way into the throne room. "I have bad news for you, sire," the servant reported quietly. "The thief has not been found, and he continues to rob from your people." In anger, the king raised his voice and said, "Find the thief, and when you do, he will receive 25 lashes." The people began to murmur among themselves, "Who could withstand such a punishment? Who could possibly commit such a crime?" But as time went on, the servant once again came back into the throne room with yet another bad report. "Your Majesty, the thief has not been found. We have searched in vain for him. Your people are still being robbed." The king was enraged. "Find that wretched thief, and when you do, his punishment will be 50 lashes. Now the people were filled with dread. They were not even sure that the king himself could withstand such a punishment. And if he could not, then certainly no one could. Who could be doing such a thing? Soon afterward, the servant again approached the king in his throne room. His face was pale, his voice timid and hollow. "Your Highness," spoke the servant, "the thief has been found." "Bring him to me this instant," cried the king. The crowd that had poured into the throne room slowly parted, revealing the thief, who now stood trembling in the middle of the room. To the utter shock and dismay of all, it was the king's aged mother. There she stood, trembling, crying. Her small and frail body was shaking with fear and shame. She was perhaps the very last soul that anyone would have suspected for such a crime. And there stood the king, in shock, deeply wounded. The crowd began to wonder and murmur among themselves. What would the merciful king do? Will he set aside the law and display his love and mercy by forgiving his mother for her crimes? Or will he display his sovereignty and justice by giving her exactly what she deserved? Will he choose mercy or will he choose justice? The king raised his hand to quiet the crowd. "Bring the whipping post," he said. The crowd was dumbfounded. Would the king truly have his mother receive such a punishment? Even the king could scarcely survive such a flogging. This frail woman would not even last a few strokes. The old woman was tied to the post. Her garment was rent, exposing her back to the whipmaster. Her ribs could be counted for her frailty. "Administer the lashes," said the king. Not a sound could be heard as the whip was raised. But just as the whipmaster was about to unleash his first stroke, the king cried, "Halt!" The crowd sighed in utter relief, but not for long. The king stood from his throne. He slowly removed the crown from his head, laying it upon the regal seat. As he began to walk down the stairs toward his mother, he laid aside his royal robe and finely woven tunic. Coming to his mother, he wrapped his enormous body around her, completely enveloping her under his frame. "Now, administer the lashes." Thus, in one act, the king displayed pure mercy and perfect justice, so as to be the one who is just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus. Guys, that captures exactly what Jesus has done for us. The great king of the world took off his robe and came to earth. And there we stood, frail, weak, trembling, deserving of punishment. But Jesus wrapped himself around us and he is the one who received the lashes. He is the one who received the cross so that we wouldn't have to.